In our latest Odds to the White House segment, an online betting giant is seeing President Trump's re-election odds plummeting amid the coronavirus market turmoil. And joining us to discuss is Lee Price. He's the head of PR for betting firm Paddy Power. And Lee, what can you tell us about Trump's re-election odds? I mean, obviously he cares a lot about the stock market, but what are you seeing from bettors trying to figure out what all this means?
I think, as with most things with coronavirus, we see caution. And while we're very bullish about Trump, even just a week ago, in that time we've lost around 11% confidence in Trump. Just because of coronavirus, who knows what's going to happen? We've seen the news over the last few days about warnings for elderly people travelling and how's that going to affect business. Trump's supposed to be good for business, coronavirus isn't. So that could be a factor. But in fairness, I should say he's still the overwhelming favourite in this market.
And he's still favored to actually win re-election there, so that's important to keep in mind, only by a slight margin. But meantime, 6 states are holding primary votes today, and your firm is predicting the Democratic nomination will be for former Vice President Joe Biden. He had shot up in terms of the odds of him winning the nomination. What are you seeing in there?
Yeah, some might call it a two-horse race. We're calling it a one-horse race, a foregone conclusion. This is an incredible turnaround for Biden. A couple of weeks ago, he was very, very low in our betting. Now it's more than 90% chance that he becomes a nominee. It's all going his way. Even that percentage for Bernie there looks a little bit generous, I'm sad to say.
Lee, at this time last election, I think in the primaries early on, Trump was a 20-1 underdog. So obviously we see a huge underdog here with Bernie. Do you think there's any type of correlation that he could pull it off when looking election over election?
Maybe, because obviously it has happened before, so we couldn't deny it entirely. But it's a very different sort of personality. And if you are looking for a rank outsider that's worth a 1% shot, we've got prices for Hillary Clinton or Michelle Obama to declare and emerge from nowhere. It's that sort of thing that is comparable to Trump rather than Bernie, who's slowly slipping back and back, not just in the results there, but with our bettors too, I think.
Yeah, and Trump was one of those long shot candidates at the beginning in a crowded field. Different story for Bernie in terms of how he had been leading here for a while, up until Super Tuesday. We saw Joe Biden running away with it. And now the bottom looks like it's falling out for Bernie here. But when you look at Bernie's odds to become the Democratic nominee, you were saying 11%. Look at that compared to 38.1%. So that's a very steep drop. What can you make of how that might matter more as we get into the final stretch of things here, too, though, because, it obviously shuffled a lot of people. But as you said, now down to just two, or in your mind, one horse. Is it too late for him to even swing that back around?
No, he still has an 11% chance. And obviously, people like an underdog, right? Or people who would have assumed that he was safe will now be saying, oh, right, he's in trouble. So it might stir a bit of a comeback. But the way the journey's gone, he's come from the favourite, quite clear favourite, was actually around 60% 3 or 4 weeks ago, to being now 11%. It's going down and down and down, and we don't think there'll be enough there for him to turn it around. Certainly to have a 90% confidence in Joe Biden, that's quite unusual at this stage.
Lee, really quick before we let you go, wondering how President Trump is now faring against Joe Biden, especially now that he's surged among your bettors.
Yeah, it has got closer. We're talking around 52% to 48%. That would have been around 56 to 44 barely a week ago. So it is edging closer. Again, it's that caution thing. We're being cautious. They're being cautious, the punters. Everyone's buying toilet roll. We're all taking it very carefully here.
And no doubt they're probably going to be changing again when we get to the end of today. As we saw after Super Tuesday last week, basically wipe the board clean and start all over again. We'll see what happens. But Lee Price, thank you so much for joining us to break that down. Appreciate it. Hey investors, Zack Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.